Okay, so a refresher for probability. Probability is the chance of an event happening. So you look at what you want to happen, your favorable outcomes, and what all could happen. So usually when we're talking about the probability of an event, so the probability of heads, if we're looking at a coin flip for heads and tails, would be how many heads, which we have one on a coin, out of two total sides. So one side is heads out of two total sides. So that would be 1/2. When we're talking about probability, first of all, we need to think about the sample space and the outcomes. The sample space is everything that could happen. Outcome is the outcome for one event with what would happen. So if I'm flipping one time, I've got two outcomes. Okay, so one flip has two outcomes. Those outcomes are either heads or tails. But then if we're talking about compound probability, we have more than one. So if I have two flips, then we could start thinking about, okay, so on the first flip, I could get heads or tails. So if I got heads, then I could do heads again or tails. If I did tails first, I could do tails again or heads. So if we're looking at this tree diagram, I could go heads, 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 tails, 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 heads. This entire thing would be the sample space. So the sample space is everything that could happen. When I'm flipping two times, I could get heads, then heads again. I could get heads, then tails. I could get tails and tails, and tails, heads. So there are 4 outcomes with 2 flips. And another way I can look at the outcome is how many outcomes on the first flip, how many outcomes on the second flip, and we can multiply them together. Well, I've got 2 possible outcomes, heads or tails. And if I flip it again, I've got 2 possible outcomes, heads or tails. And 2 times 2 would be 4. So I have 4 total outcomes. And the sample space tells us exactly how those outcomes would happen, exactly how those things could shake out. So once we have a sample space, we could answer all kinds of problems. In this case, we could say, what's the probability of getting tails and tails again? Tails 2 times in a row. Well, that happened 1 time out of 4 possible outcomes. We could say, what's the probability of getting at least 1 head? So let's think about all the ones that have at least 1 head. Well, this one has 2, so that counts. That's at least 1. This is at least 1. This is at least 1. So that happened 3 times out of 4 outcomes.